Muscatine Community YMCA Emergency Action Plans. Being prepared for emergencies is every YMCA employee's responsibility. The safety of your coworkers and our members and participants depends on each employee knowing what their role is in an emergency. Emergencies rarely happen, but by being prepared and knowing where responsibilities are, we will continue to keep our YMCA safe for everyone. That is what our emergency action plans are designed to do. Emergency Action Plans. The purpose of this Emergency Action Plan, or EAP, is to establish a system for managing emergencies that may affect staff, member safety, facilities, and the operation of the Muscatine Community YMCA. This plan seeks to prevent emergencies from occurring, but also focuses on preparing for emergencies that might occur and responding effectively using any necessary resources. The plan also provides for the coordination between the YMCA and local emergency units. The plan may not cover every conceivable situation, however, it does supply the basic administrative guidelines necessary to cope with most emergencies. This program applies to all employees, members, volunteers, and visitors, and includes all buildings and grounds operated and managed by the Muscatine Community YMCA. An emergency is defined as any incident which affects an entire building or buildings and which will disrupt the overall operations of the YMCA. Emergency Response Contact Numbers and EAP Quick Reference Sheet. In case of emergency, follow the specific emergency response process found in the Emergency Action Plan and call the appropriate agency at the designated emergency and assure your personal safety. By every telephone in the facility should be an EAP Quick Reference Sheet. On the Quick Reference Sheet are the same numbers found on page 4 of the Safety Manual. Listed here are contact numbers, both internal extension and personal numbers, for the crisis management team members, the central point of contact, maintenance personnel, and other important numbers you might need in emergency situations. The Quick Reference Sheet also gives you a quick overview of a few select EAPs. These are not the full procedures. For full procedures, you should refer to the Safety Manual. First Aid Provider. In order to respond quickly and effectively to a medical emergency, appropriate staff will assume one of the following roles: First Aid Provider, or FAP, Assistant First Aid Provider, AFAP, or Controller. First Aid Providers must have current CPR and AED for the professional rescuer and first aid certifications. Job positions at the Muscatine Community YMCA that are designated First Aid Providers are Building Supervisors, Program Directors, Early Morning Lifeguards, lifeguards in the cases of pool complex accident or injuries, and Kids Club staff in cases of Kids Club accidents or injuries. First aid kits and AED locations. There are several first aid kits located throughout the building, but the 4 main kits are located in the aquatic staff office, the kitchen, the exercise area, and the service center, along with the AED and the AED jump bag. The staff that work in those areas with the main first aid kits are responsible for bringing the kits with them in the cases of an emergency or building evacuation. Blood or bodily fluid cleanup procedures. There are several biohazard bins throughout the building for proper disposal of blood or other bodily fluids. Small bins are located in the aquatic staff office, Y-Play, and at the service center. The main biohazard bin is located in the maintenance shop. For proper cleanup procedures, refer to blood and bodily fluid cleanup procedures on page 6 of the Safety Manual. Emergency Action Plan for accidents, injuries outside the facility or within the facility. Accidents or injuries can occur anytime, anywhere. For accidents or injuries outside or inside the facility, the first person to be in contact with the victim should stay with the victim and contact the service center, either by calling the facility's main line, using the internal line 121, or sending a runner, and direct the service center to notify the designated first aid provider to report to the location of the victim. Other designated staff have additional responsibilities and should refer to the Safety Manual for those procedures. Emergency Action Plan for Pool Emergencies. In the event of a pool emergency, lifeguards and other pool staff are directed to summon assistance to the pool complex by pushing one of the 3 medical alert bells located in each of the pool areas if they are the only guard on duty or if they suspect additional support services will be needed. The medical alert bell can be difficult to hear. This is what the pool medical alert sounds like. If you are a service center staff or a building supervisor, you should be familiar with the EAP for pool emergencies and your additional responsibilities to support the aquatic staff. Staff Accident or Injury Reporting Procedure. Our employee safety is just as important as our members and participants. Be sure that you are always following safety protocols and guidelines, wearing required PPE, and taking the necessary precautions to ensure the safety of everyone around you, including you. If you are injured while on duty or while working, you must follow these procedures. Inform your supervisor within 24 hours of the accident, injury, or incident. Have a first aid provider perform any first aid required. And fill out both an accident report and an employee injury report as soon as possible and turn it into your supervisor. Chemical spills. If you notice a chemical spill, secure the area and, if necessary, evacuate members, guests, and staff from the area. Notify your supervisor, giving as much detail as possible. Do not attempt to clean up the material unless you are trained to do so. Designated personnel will clean up material as soon as possible, make any repairs as needed, and report progress to the appropriate program director and executive director. Fill out an incident report and/or building condition report and refer to the SDS for cleanup and first aid procedures. Civil disorder or violent event. The Muscatine Community YMCA staff will take any violent event or threat most seriously. Staff will act quickly and professionally at all times in the following manner. Call for a first aid provider or building supervisor and inform the executive director of the threat or violent event. If you can do so safely, remove the threatening individual from the area away from other members and guests. If they refuse or the situation is unsafe, attempt to evacuate other members and guests from the immediate area. At least 2 staff members should be with the threatening individual at all times. If addressing the assailant or violent person, talk in a low, slow voice. Have the service center call 911 to request police assistance. If the threatening individual is a minor, contact their parents or guardian. Be sure that all accident reports are filled out completely, get witness statements, and include video surveillance footage. Once the authorities arrive, let them handle the situation. Only allow members, guests, and staff to return to the facility and activities after the authorities have assured that all areas are secure. Bomb threats or suspicious packages. All bomb threats should be treated as though they are real. Report any suspicious package, actions, or conditions at all times. Severe weather or tornado. The outdoor warning sirens are activated for the following reasons. If a tornado warning has been issued by the National Weather Service, if there is severe thunderstorm warning issued by the National Weather Service, or non-weather related emergencies, hazmat incidents, terrorism, nuclear emergencies that pose a threat to those outdoors and require action to protect lives. The sirens should be sounded for 3 to 5 minutes and will be resounded for the duration of the threat, about every 10 to 15 minutes. There is no all-clear signal from the outdoor warning sirens. The first Monday of each month at 11 a.m., the warning sirens are tested. The sirens are difficult to hear in many areas of the building. Those that can hear the sirens should alert the business desk and service center when the sirens are sounding. In the event of severe weather, all staff will be directed to move all members, participants, and staff to the dry hallway or one of the 4 locker rooms. These are the safest areas in the building. During the tornado or severe weather event, staff members should close the double doors at the end of the hall leading to the exercise area, leaving one side slightly open to allow airflow. A staff person should guard these doors to prevent others from entering the area beyond the hall. A staff person should also guard the pool end of the hallway to prevent others from getting too close to the windows. Staff will do their best to keep adults and children in these safe areas until the danger has passed. No one should be allowed out of the dry hallway or 4 locker rooms into other areas of the building unless they are leaving the facility. This includes staff. Designated staff only may be allowed into specific areas in order to monitor weather radars. These staff are designated by the safety coordinator and executive director. If adult members or guests do not wish to remain in the facility during tornado or severe weather, clearly state that the weather is dangerous and recommend that they remain inside until the danger has passed. If they still wish to leave, we cannot force them to stay. Escort them to the corner of the service center. Minors, people under the age of 18 years old, will not be allowed to leave the facility until the warning has expired or a parent or guardian over the age of 18 retrieves them in person. Staff members will monitor local media for additional information regarding the event and will determine when it is safe to release members and participants from the safety of the hallway and locker rooms. Emergency Action Plan for Fire or Building Evacuation. In case of a fire, all staff has the responsibility of making sure that no participants are left in the building, either because they did not hear the alarm and/or because they need assistance in leaving the building quickly. To accomplish this goal, staff will leave the building through their designated routes. These routes are listed in the Emergency Action Plan for Fire or Building Evacuation for both daytime and evening and weekend emergencies. The building is equipped with an automatic alarm and sprinkler system. The alarm will sound in the building as well as alert the security company, who will then alert the public safety building that a fire is in progress. The fire alarm system can be activated both manually by pulling on the alarm boxes or automatically as a result of heat. The sprinkler system is heat activated and will turn on in areas where the temperature goes above the set point. There are also several fire extinguishers located throughout the building. In the event of an emergency in the evening or on a weekend when staff is limited, staff should not hesitate to ask members and guests to assist with escorting everyone out of the building or checking specific areas. Emergency Action Plan for Fire Building Evacuation continued. All staff and participants in their care will meet down the sidewalk off the Cedar Street parking lot, down the one-way drive near the trail. You may pause the video now to read through the safety manual section on the Emergency Action Plan for Fire or Building Evacuation to find your designated responsibilities, listed as things you should take and do and the areas you should check and clear, and your routes to exit the facility for the shifts that you work most often. Lockdown or missing child. In the event of a reported missing child, our first step is to quickly search the area where the child or person was last known to be determined if they are truly missing. Once it is determined we are starting lockdown procedures, staff will hear the following announcement. Attention Y staff, all exit doors need to be secured. Please report to your assigned area. This indicates to staff that we have a report of a missing child without causing panic, alerting any potential abductor that we are aware of the incident, and limits our search area so that hopefully we can find the child quickly without incident. During a lockdown, all staff have the responsibility of securing all facility exit doors. Once all exit doors have been secured, all extra staff members from the same departments are responsible for assisting in securing and checking other areas of the building. You may pause the video now and read through the EAP for lockdown or missing child in the safety manual for your responsibilities. Reporting red flag behavior. Red flag behavior is behavior that violates the Muscatine Community YMCA's Code of Conduct or our child abuse prevention training. You should notify your supervisor or the Y's central point of contact immediately if you notice any red flag behavior from other staff, members, or participants. For behaviors that would be considered as red flag behaviors, please refer to page 23 of the safety manual or the section on child abuse prevention training. Building map. On page 24 of the safety manual is a map of the Muscatine Community YMCA. This map shows the locations of the main first aid kits and AED, the severe weather shelter area, emergency exits, and labels all areas of the facility for your knowledge and reference in case of emergencies. Muscatine Community YMCA Hazard Communication Standard. It is the responsibility of each Muscatine Community YMCA employee to be familiar with the chemicals and other products that are in their work area, know the labels, hazard levels, and location of the safety data sheets for those chemicals and products, and to read and review the safety manual, watch the accompanying videos, and complete the accompanying quiz within 30 days of hire and then annually thereafter or at the request of their supervisor. In order to ensure chemical safety in the workplace, information about the identities and hazards of the chemicals must be available and understandable to workers. OSHA's Hazard Communication Standard requires that the chemical manufacturers and importers are required to evaluate the hazards of the chemicals they produce or import and prepare labels and SDS to convey the hazard information. All employers with hazardous chemicals in their workplaces must have labels and SDS for their workers and train them to handle the chemicals appropriately. Chemical labels should have 6 elements: product identifiers, pictograms, a signal word, hazard statements, precautionary statements, and contact information. The Hazard Communication Standard now requires all safety data sheets to use a standardized 16-section format, and that information on the SDS match the information on the chemical label. Having a standardized label and SDS ensures proper handling, use and storage of a chemical or product, as well as ensures that the information can be easily accessed when first aid is needed by a first aid provider or emergency personnel.